Welcome back to another episode of Noiz.I Talks with Friends. Today we have my
mother.
Woo! My mother is on the channel. How are you doing today, Mom?
I'm doing all right.
You gotta hold it to you.
I'm doing all right.
Thank you. So this is my mother, people. Give a little background of who you are, what you do, what you're trying to do.
So I am Mom. My name is Renika, and I'm a mom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the oldest of 7 children. I'm a daughter. I'm a writer. I'm a singer. I'm a dancer. I'm a business entrepreneur. I'm entrepreneurially minded. I own businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Consultant. I do a lot of stuff.
I do a lot of stuff. She wears a lot of hats. She is what is that? What is that saying? A master of. A jack of all
trades, master of none.
Master of none. Are you ready?
I think so. So I think they call that a multi-hyphenate. That's what Issa Rae calls it. Multi-hyphenate.
I'm gonna call you a multi-slasher because that's what I think. That's a slashes. So for those who are just now for those who are tuning in first time, this is a talk show where I just bring people on, family members, friends, whatever. And we just have an honest conversation. Usually it's 6 questions if we have more time, but today we only have, not that much time, so it's time constraint. So today's going to be 3 questions. These people have no idea what the questions are. Some are heavy, some are not, but they're going to be heavy, okay? So 3 questions today. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First question. Because you were a young mother. So your first kid was 17?
Mm-hmm. Got pregnant when I was 17.
Got pregnant when you were 17. So as a young mother, what troubles did you face that still hold on in your adult life?
From being a teen mom?
Into now.
Off the top of my head, insecurity of being in a relationship. Because when you're a young mom, and it happened to me twice, a young mom.
Yeah.
When you have children and those relationships don't result in the long-lasting marriage or whatever you thought it would be.
Yeah, everything is not in your head, but like what you see.
Right.
Yeah.
It's made me believe at that time and then even to now that I would never be in a loving relationship.
And that's heavy. So as far as like relationships and all that stuff go, like how do you view them now? Because obviously you had a different thing then. Because I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just listening. My face reacted.
No, go ahead.
No, you continue.
It reacted for a reason, so go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's the same. It goes back to the question. It's like how I felt at 17. I feel at 48.
And do you think that you'll ever get there?
That I'll ever be in a loving relationship? I have hope. You know what I mean?
It's a yes or no question.
I don't know if I would say hope.
It's a yes or no question.
No.
Why is that? Do you feel like it's a you thing, or you feel like what? No, I'm just asking.
I think it's half me, but I also think it's that men are trash.
So let's go deeper. Are men trash because of figures that you had in your life, or because of the people that you have tried to talk to you?
Both.
Okay. Elaborate.
So I did not have a good father figure, and most of the males, whether they're pastors, brothers, just almost every male in my family, or that has been attached to me romantically and or other, I feel like has failed me in some way.
And do you think that that's the reason why you won't? I can say won't try for a relationship.
I do think I'll own that responsibility and say I don't try, but I also don't want to try because men are trash.
Do you feel like with that, like you want to be pursued? And not like not saying like like you're in a relationship and like that person is still pursuing you in the relationship, but like now.
Yeah, I think I think I would want to be pursued, but I'll be honest and say I'm not sure what I would even do. I think I would have such a, I don't know if I would believe it was pursuit. Because I'd be like, what's your angle?
Right.
You working something. You know what I mean? You're going to hurt me at some point. So if someone was genuine, I don't know if I would recognize it.
Wow. Do you feel if the right person were to pursue you that you're ready for a relationship? Like, do you feel like you're ready?
No.
Because of what? What do you think that you feel like you had to let go or give up or?
I have a lot of unforgiveness. I have a lot of unforgiveness of myself.
Yeah.
You know, weight. You know what I mean? I carry a lot emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, soulishly, whatever. But then I think that translated into actual pounds. So I have never forgiven myself for gaining weight.
Yeah.
And and for letting those things get away from me that I thought that I wanted.
And then do you have I'm not going to say goal, but do you have a drive to forgive yourself?
I don't think I have a drive to forgive.
Like, you know what I mean?
It's one of those intellectual things or spiritual things because, I'm a church girl, or I should say raised in a church. So I know based on what technically should be my core values that I should forgive myself. I know it's necessary. Biblically speaking, and just from a mental health, whatever standpoint, I know it's necessary. But is it something that I am actively pursuing? No. It's just something that I know has to happen.
Why? Why aren't you actively pursuing it?
Why am I not pursuing forgiveness for myself?
Yeah.
Because I don't think I deserve it. Because it's one of those things that I keep holding over my head. Is like, how could you have been that dumb?
Yeah, but I think that you had to forgive yourself, or you'll never move on. And I feel like that's how people move forward in their life. I don't want to say move on because I feel like move on is a type of like, I'm gonna call it shading because that's the word that's coming in my head. Like you kind of like hide from moving on, but like moving forward is like you see the problem, you understand the problem, and you work through the problem. But I think that's something that you should practice with yourself, is loving Renika. I can't speak for all men because people in general are trash, but with the figures that you have had, all you can do is love and let go. And that's something that we talk about a lot, is not acting out of hatred or unforgiveness. Like if a lot of people tell you about their problems that you're not even associated with, just be like, all right, I love you and gotta go, because that's not where your life is. And I think when you have done that so long, you do get to the place where it's that you don't forgive yourself. So I say, as your son, start loving yourself, bruh.
It's good advice.
Question number 2. You ready for question number 2?
Yep.
Question number 2. Being the big sister of 7 kids, do you feel like you communicate your emotions or advice to the younger siblings?
I believe that I am a great communicator. I don't believe that I'm always understood, but I think because I am so willing to express myself emotionally, and most of my siblings, members of my family, are not as in touch with their emotions as I am. So they don't speak back, or they have there's a threshold. It's like when I start speaking, I can literally see a countdown clock. So you're like, all right, let's get to it, and I'll talk for 3 days straight about it until I feel a release. But that's not my experience with the family. With
the conversations you've had, have you ever felt like a release, or it's always like a?
No, I feel like I hold more. Even if I get to say everything I want to say, it's because I don't think it's received, or I think it's being ignored. It's like it was just like wasted words.
And then where do you feel like that can be not even fixed, but resolved? I mean, obviously it comes back on to the other person, but like, because if you're communicating that much to a point, like, what are you expecting from the other person to do besides receiving?
I think that's the problem. Is my expectation.
Yeah.
So I have to eliminate the expectation, and there's no other way to say that. I have to eliminate the expectation.
Yeah,
it's like I need to be able to express myself, but not with the demand or the requisite of me getting it back, being reciprocated. So I'm like, all right, well, and that's hard for me to do.
Yeah,
but I know it's possible to do, I guess.
It's okay. And okay, wow. For the last question, are you ready? Question number 3. What do we need to do as Black people to stop burning each other's bridges? That's a very broad question.
You're going to have to
so basically let's just literally break it down in black and white. So white people, even though they have arguments, they're still going to get together for that presentation that they're going to do for somebody. But if Black people have arguments, we're never going to get to the next step. So break it down even more.
You're saying, how can we
work together?
Culturally speaking,
yes.
Work better with each other,
yes,
versus holding grudges?
Yes. Is that a weird question?
No, I guess not.
No, what? Speak it. Don't hold back.
How do we? I think this is such a weird answer, but learning how to communicate. I think people think that communication is just talking.
Yeah.
Communicating is not just talking.
Right.
So I don't believe that we do well exchange. I think we want to be heard. We want to make our point, and our point is right, and that's it. So as long as we say what we want to say, then it's pretty much the end. So unless we get to the place where we can respect, hear out, value what someone's whole being and what they have to say, I don't think we'll ever move past where we are.
And that's actually a sad thing, because it's like, Black people always want more for Black people, but we don't want to do the things to want more for each other.
That's actually true.
Which makes no sense. So, like, let's say I have a small business in my local community, and she has a small business in her local community. Why not be like, hey, what do you do that works for you stuff over there? No, we just like, let's compete. Let's try to get these niggas out of business, bro. And I don't understand that, because I feel like
I don't know if that's fair.
But but I'm not saying that like on a grand scale. I'm just saying like, that's just a scenario I had.
Right.
But I mean, what were you thinking though?
No, I do appreciate the idea of everything comes down to comparison. If I understood what you're saying.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Everything comes down to comparison, which ends up usually resulting in a competition, which is not necessarily healthy. Right. Because if we could, come together, do it together, then maybe we could get further. I would agree with that assessment.
Yeah, I wish that our fight as Black people didn't start with us. And let me explain what I mean. Obviously, our fight, majority of our fight is with white people, but let's take that off the plate, right? Let's just worry about Black people and Black people, okay? Most of our fight is with each other, right? And I feel like because there's a lot of I can't even say opinions, because everything's opinion based when it comes to that. So like, what am I trying to say? I just want to stop fighting and killing each other, bro. I don't know what else to say about that.
It makes me wonder, though, and this is what's kind of walking around my head. Yeah. Is the problem us as a collective or us as individuals?
Individual.
Okay. So I'm like...
Because I mean, obviously the cliche, we all come from different backgrounds, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But It does start with us.
Right, but I don't think people are willing to deal with themselves.
That's
so
what
it
I'm
kind of bleeds back
Whoa.
into the thing about how I feel about how I communicate with members of the family. I'm so willing to do that kind of introspection where I will lay everything bare. I'll tell on myself.
Right.
And I'll tell my deepest, darkest. You know what I mean?
But
so,
when someone doesn't reciprocate that,
yeah, because most people aren't ready to do that work, or they don't believe they need to do that work.
They don't believe it.
Right.
Okay.
And I think maybe, and I don't want to make a blanket statement about the blacks, but I do think that most of us are not willing to do that introspection. We'll rather blame. We'll rather, like my daddy, my mama, my kids, my whatever, the school, the whites, the this, the that. We'll do that, but we won't look at ourselves and say, this is what I need to work on. So I have no problem telling on myself, and you know what I mean? But the problem is I won't do the thing. So if I solve it in my mind, I'm like, I did it.
No. And it's funny because, like, again, a conversation that my mother and I had, like, we were talking about therapy, and I was like, do you think that black people need therapy? And then it went deeper into, I told her I think I need therapy. And tell them what you said, mother.
I don't actually remember.
She said she doesn't like the idea of therapy because she feels that she has all the answers.
Oh, yeah.
So elaborate.
I've attempted, this is so bad, but I've attempted therapy, and as soon as I figure that I'm smarter than the therapist, or I can unlock my own stuff, I'm done.
So you're bad at receiving?
Like, what you're saying is, huh?
You're bad at receiving?
No, because I feel like what I think about therapy, I believe in communication. I believe in talking things out, but I feel like where they come from is what I despise. So they're coming from a clinical place,
right?
But I'm like, I'm a person,
right? So
if I feel like you're trying to approach me clinically and trying to diagnose me and whatever, then I'll try to beat you to whatever the diagnosis. Just so we could be done.
That's so stupid. Before you say it, right?
Because to me, you're not talking to me about anything.
Yeah.
Real. So I just like put on my psychology.
Oh
like,
my god!
I know I got. There is a psychologist.
Dementia. That's so stupid.
Watching this right now, be like, I need to get her in my office.
She needs to be in my office. Do you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything before we get up to our closing remarks?
Yeah, I want to
anything.
I want a not a report card, but as a mom, because I was in the room when you was talking to PJ and asking.
She was here.
If you believe, you guys asked each other if you believe that you failed each other in your role as you know. So I'm going to ask you two questions. Do you think that I think that you failed me as a son?
Yes.
Why do you think that?
I feel like a lot of it goes back to how you maybe thought of an outcome for me. So like when I think about like so kind of backstory, I've always wanted to do like sports and stuff and whatever, but my mother never wanted me to do that because of I was at a white school, so she didn't want me to be the token black boy who was a star but was a token. So I would be on every page, every but the story would be like broke black kid comes out of a dirty apartment. That's what she didn't want, basically. And as a child I didn't understand that, but growing up I did. But I just wanted to have sports just because I was young, black, and athletic. That's all I wanted. So like when I kind of didn't follow that, I feel like I failed you. And then because her and I are so alike, I always feel like I can figure it out myself too. So like another thing was like she didn't want me to go to college. I'm like, bruh, I need college. College is cool. College is fun. I need knowledge. Blah blah blah. But then when I did my first semester, I was like, yeah, Mom, I'm coming back to live with you, bruh. So it's like, I felt like not listening made me feel like I failed you as a son. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that's so much that I think you failed as much as it's frustrating as a mug.
Yeah.
For me to say something and then you'll go and get that same exact word from somebody else.
Yes. Okay.
This is it.
Real quick. Yes, real quick, because we always talk about this. Something that I had a conversation with a friend is, it is very hard giving advice to someone you love because they'll never take it, right? So they'll never take it unless they see that person doing it or receive it from a person who is doing it, right? So I do love my mom, but her giving advice to me is really bad, because if she's not doing it, why would I take it? But if someone I appreciate, or not appreciate, if someone that I watch or that I whatever does, I'm like, Mom, guess what I just learned today? And she told me like 2 days before. So it's like, that's where pride comes in. That's where pride comes in. But yeah, I just want to say that real quick.
So I think that goes into like my second question is like, have I failed you as a mom? Because if there wasn't some measure of failure, you're perceiving me as failed you in some way, and if I'm understanding what you're saying, in application, which is doing what I say, not just saying what I. You know how they say, "Do what I say," or what? How does the thing go? Where you be like, "I need you to do what I say, but don't do as I do." I can't remember.
I don't know like that.
I murdered that. But I'm like, I tell people, I want you to do what I tell you to do, instead of me modeling.
Yes.
What I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. So it feels like I have failed you in modeling as a mom. And that's why you won't do what I say, because you ain't doing it. So why would I do it?
Going back to the conversation I had with Precious, it upsets me that, especially as women, I feel like, forget all this. I'm not gonna say forget, because like you can't forget stuff, but I feel like as women, self-love is easier
for women, generally speaking.
And this is about to sound so stupid.
Ooh, don't.
This is about to sound so stupid. But let's just have a conversation.
All right.
But this is just because of how I think. Me specifically, has nothing to do about men or whatever. I feel like it's easier for women to love themselves because they're women. That sounds so stupid. But anyways, disregard that. Please don't butcher me. I would say because you didn't love yourself. And you held on to a lot that you're still holding a lot today. That's the only reason why. But then, go ahead and attack me for the woman thing, because that is really what I think. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't understand how I suppose what people do is they try to generalize things, or they break things down in a way that they can comprehend it.
Yeah.
And so you have literally broken it down to, well, women are better at it because you're a woman. What?
That's literally what I thought.
And men are worse because they're men. That is the worst thing you probably.
But I think it's because of like how social media is. So like, even if in my head a not so pretty female posts herself, I have to. Not even if a not so pretty female posts herself, there are easily a million men saying she's pretty, or a woman saying that she's pretty. I'm just being honest.
But that's other people saying it. That doesn't necessarily mean
that she
believes it.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
But
so it makes me wonder if you think that women are more equipped at loving themselves because they have that nurturing piece.
Yes.
I don't agree with that.
Sure.
Me and your sister proved that.
Yeah,
because both of us have issues with loving ourselves. Now, I'm in touch with my emotions. PJ is not, so I can tell on myself.
Right.
But I also know I don't love me.
Right. Yeah. How do you get there?
How do I get to loving me? So the way that I think about it is that I have to get better first. So I have to earn my own love.
Wow.
So first I have to lose the weight, accomplish
and then
all
you're going to stand in the mirror like, I did it.
I love me now.
I love me now.
Girl, you are lovable.
You did it.
So I have withheld my own love until I do all the things that I know that I'm capable of doing, and refuse to extend it until I get there.
So before you leave today, what do you think you can do today to love yourself?
To love me?
What can
Today?
What can you do before you get off this camera to love yourself?
Today.
So our thing is from we have like a lot of inside jokes or whatever, but one of them is from School of Rock when they go, let's rock today. So we do that to each other because it's funny.
What can I do today?
Before you get off the camera, what can you do today to love yourself?
On camera?
Yeah.
I don't think that's enough time.
It's definitely enough time, bro. Come on. And you have to believe it when you say it.
I'm not. There's no way in the world.
It could be something small.
I will not get there.
It could be something small.
Even if I say it.
You're not going to believe it when you walk out.
I don't believe it.
Wow.
No. So I'm not going to even play with that. Why would I?
You know what? Next episode we have with my mom or sister, they're going to be together, and we're going to unpack this. So let's clap it up for that. Because there ain't no way I have the two most beautifulest people in my life
Today.
and they don't love themselves. I hate that.
Do you love you?
Yes.
Really?
Now. When you said it, I did. No, I'm just playing. So let me unpack that too real quick. So I think when I gained a little weight after high school, I was like, bruh, you are ugly. And that's been it for like 3 years. But then kind of going into the end of 2022, I started to, again, learn me. And like the more I was like, I do have thoughts. I do have a brain. I do have a heart. And I can do all this stuff. Then I began to love myself. So recently, yes. But if you were to ask me that.
Yeah, but did you see what you just did?
What?
You got to a place. And you didn't do it before you got to that place.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
So what you mean? That I got to get to it today when you took...
Today! No, but yeah, I did get to a place where...
Wow.
But that was like probably like September, October is when I got there.
Yeah, that's just problematic. Because if you should, gain weight or do something and get back in that place, you just not going to love you again.
Okay, but seriously, like we're gonna get to a place. We're gonna have an updated.
Man, this is trauma.
This is trauma. This
Jesus.
we just have to talk about it.
That's fine.
But next episode, I am gonna have both my sister and my mother, and it's gonna be updated and happy. I promise. It's gonna be
Today.
Today. It's gonna be updated and happy. Did you ask your 2 questions?
Yeah.
Okay. That has been another phenomenal episode of Noiz.I Talks with Friends, aka with my mother. Thank you guys for tuning in. It is always a pleasure for you guys to tune in. Like, comment, subscribe. Like I said, next episode with mom and sister, they're going to be together. It's going to be a more uplifting, heartwarming video. We're gonna do it. Let's say, Precious, Mom, let's give you guys 6 months. Just whenever you guys have gotten to the place where you love yourself. Precious.
Sounds so bad.
Precious. We're gonna do an updated version of you and Mom loving yourself in a couple months. Let's rock today. Thank you guys so much, Mother.
Thank y'all. Support Zion.
And we are out.